morning. We're a little early again. I'm trying out a new time occasionally. Uh, Also because I'm doing things out of order on certain mornings because of just stuff. So, I hope you all are having a beautiful morning. If you are new here, my name is Red Moon Eagle, and you are watching Daily Devotions with Red Moon Eagle. We are in the tide of winter, just tide of destruction from winter solstice to spring equinox. And this is my first cup of tea, and for those of you who do not know, I don't do mornings. They are very difficult, and I know that it seems like I seem to have mornings all figured out, and I really don't. Okay, so a cup of tea, and we're going to dive into our cards today. This is the Self-Care Oracle, and the card that came up with this one is Write a Gratitude List. Mantra, I am grateful. Ultimately, the only thing that we can fully control is our thoughts. What are you grateful for? How can you show more gratitude daily? And I really have started to get a little irritated by things like the only thing you can fully control is your thoughts. It is true. It's called power of mind. Um, and I want to do a whole workshop on the wheel. And I think I'm going to do an online one. And I think I'm going to post it where you can go through it on your own through my portal. So keep an eye out for that because I am grateful that I have the ability to share this information with you. So journal prompt, what are you grateful for? How can you show more great gratitude daily? Powerful card though. Animal Spirit Guide book. And we have the mouse today. The mouse. Detail-oriented, small-minded, nitpicky, nervous. The mouse has an intimate desire to tend to the details. It often spreads its days fixing, preparing, organizing, and scrutinizing. Unfortunately, a mouse personality doesn't always notice when they've gone too far. Soon they begin to have a limited and fearful vision of life and try to control every detail. This can be quite a painful experience for both the mouse and those around them. When mouse energy is at play, step back for a moment. It may be time to find a more purposeful project to delve into, one that's worthy of your exacting eye. When in balance, organized, resourceful, prepared. When out of balance, busy with no purpose. To bring into balance a meaningful project. So I want to talk about this one here in a minute, so we'll come back to it. And then the Mystical Shaman Oracle. Let me say that out of order. Oh, it's a beautiful card. The card is number 24, the Heart of Sky. The heart of sky is the love force that made all creation possible. This same force is present when you create with originality, when you bring formless to form or inspired ideas to expression. This primeval force does not know good or bad. It is up to us to provide clear intention that will guide it to manifest. The heart of sky The heart of sky helps us call in beauty from the invisible world and birth it in the world of matter. The heart of sky brings you a sacred reminder. You are a channel for the original energy of creation. Become the paintbrush, the canvas, the artist. And all guided by heart of sky, set your intention ethically and clearly and allow the universe to take care of the details. The medicine of this card is that you may feel responsible for everything and everyone. Perhaps you think you have to do it all alone. This takes you into a dark hole where you lose trust in the natural order of the cosmos. So shed your lofty sense of duty. Recognize this is a false prison of your own making. You can open the door and set yourself free in an instant. Wow, all of these cards are so powerful today. So, I'm going to take a breath. Heart of sky. When you have purpose, right? Everybody has purpose. Everybody has a reason they're here. Nobody is giftless. Everyone has gifts. Everyone has the ability to connect into the divine. Everybody and everyone is connected to each other. We are not alone. Heart of sky mixed with mouse with purpose, right? Mouse is also about finding a meaningful project. And this card, being grateful, these are all the same thing. They're all woven together. And something that comes up really strong in this is that you can have this amazing attention to detail for things, and it can go sideways. It can become busy with no purpose, nitpicky, scrutinizing in a negative way. There's the shadow of the mouse, okay? And then you've got the gratitude. And if you're not grateful, what happens? Grateful goes into resentment. Grateful goes into burdensome thought. Um, and heart of the sky goes into being responsible for everything and everyone all of the time. And feeling like you have this huge duty, and it's a false prison, right? It's a prison of your own mind. It's a prison of your own perception. And these are all real emotional responses to things. They're real. They matter. And you can't sweep them underneath the rug. Because if you sweep them underneath the rug, you're not dealing with it. You cannot mind your way out of it, if that makes sense. But you can use the tools of your mind to rewrite the script. So what does that mean? So in the wheel, if we think of mind, body, spirit, emotion, one of the things that this addresses is the emotional side of things. It is mind and it is emotion because and spirit, but there is this quality of when you're looking at gratitude and you're saying, I am grateful for my life, I am grateful for the things that are in my life. You know, if you're living in your car and you're going paycheck to paycheck and you're trying to save rent and you need food and it's freezing cold outside, it's hard to be grateful for things. You could be grateful for your car, you could be grateful for your job. You know, there's a lot of things you can be grateful for. But it's very easy to go into a self-castigation place, right? Like a self-deprivation place. But gratitude is an emotional, physiological, and spiritual place where you have to not only work on the internal dialogue in your thoughts, but you also work on your physiological responses and how you feel about that dialogue. Those are all connected. And you as a spiritual entity have to be able to recognize that gratitude, that emotion of self-love and grateful to the universe for what you do have helps unwind the place of being in a helpless, hopeless place. Okay. Then you have mouse, and mouse is very much all about the details. The mouse loves to be in the tiny little details of the project and is very detail oriented and has a high amount of energy to get all of those details taken care of. Mouse is a very powerful force. Now, mouse also, from some of my own learning over time with mouse, is that mouse is a shadow animal. Mouse is not a scurry around in broad daylight animal. You very rarely see mice in broad daylight. Mice scurry around at night. And what is the animal that hunts mice? They are the night animals. The night animals, the shadow animals, hunt the other shadow animals. And mouse and shadow are intertwined. You cannot have lessons from mouse without shadow. And shadow is not bad. And I will say it 5 million times if I have to. Shadow is not bad. Shadow is not good. Shadow and light do not represent good and bad. Shadow and light represent the polarity of magnetism that you need to move forward. And there's a lot of gray in the world. And mouse is one of those that They are a shadow animal, and they bring that shadow grayness forward when they come into your life to tell you to pay attention to the details. Because when you pay attention to the details, you can lose the big picture. And that's okay. The mouse doesn't care about the big picture. The mouse cares about what's right in front of them. And that's an important thing. And that's purposeful. And that is meaningful. And it has absolute meaning. What happens when the mouse pays too much to the details and doesn't allow new things to come in to its space? It gets frozen and it freezes. Have you ever seen a mouse in your house and it scurries and then you have a loud bang sound and it freezes? That's the frozenness of the shadow of the mouse. The mouse brings amazing things into our life. But I mean, I wouldn't want one living in my house because then they eat things that they shouldn't. But um, you know where I'm going with this. And then Heart of the Sky. Heart of the Sky, I think I want to retouch that. Say you're working on a project and you have a lot of passion and a lot of energy about the project, and you are trying to work out the details of something. Say you're going to go teach something, or say, um, I'll use a really good example. Recently, I have a project that I'm working on, and I sent part of a manuscript to an editor, professional editor, that I just needed them to go through and kind of fix some of the things so that I don't have to do the pain in the rear things because I don't have time for it. And the editor uh, sent it back to me, and there were some edits that the editor made that I didn't like, but that's okay. That's the detail of the mouse. And I recognize that I didn't like it, but it's not that person's fault, right? It's not, I have given the responsibility of that part of my project to someone else. I let it go. I didn't think about it for 3 or 4 days. And when it came back, I was able to say, it's okay. There were some nitpicky things that I didn't want to let go of. And next time I send it to that editor, I will make notations. Please do not change these things. And that's okay. And I can move on with the world. But years and years and years ago, um, I I got stuck in writing because I thought that I had to take responsible for everything and all the pieces of doing every single one of the pieces about writing this manuscript. And another person came to me and said, that's why they have editors, Red. Like, you don't have to do it all. And it was such a burden lifted. And it was the invitation that I can be the channel for the energy of that manuscript, but I don't have to do all the nitpicky little details. I don't have to deal in the shadow of things that I'm not good at. I don't have time for. Um, I'm only good at that part of that project if I'm helping someone else do something. I'm not good at it for myself, and that's okay. It also means that anytime you work on something that you're very passionate about, that you have purpose driven for, it's very hard to recognize that something that you are holding the integrity of something, to let that go out into the world and trust that there are going to be people that are going to pick it up and carry it and honor that. There are people, of course, that their own ego gets into the middle of it and they want to change it and make it about them. I get that. And you don't want that to happen. So you guard your secrets, you guard your projects, you guard your creativity. And that's the shadow lesson of group projects. I've worked in group projects on and off my whole life, and they are very difficult to do because, so when I was in school and college, one of the things that would come up is you get paired with a group, and who ends up being the leader of the group? I do. Who ends up being the organizer? I do. It's like nobody else seems to want to do that. Great. And then I get really resentful because it seems like if I'm running the group and somebody falls down, I end up picking up that piece. Well, that is the Western perception of how groups work. In reality, that is not how groups work. It is not in reality how that should work. The way it should work, and I had to learn this, is that you get a group of people together and everybody has their thing they're supposed to do, and somebody has a kid get sick, or their car quits and they can't get to the place or whatever. The team should come together and split up that job amongst everyone else. Everyone in the group should pick up the slack, not necessarily the leader. The leader still has their things to do. A leader doesn't stand at the top of the room and just say, I'm going to lead and not do anything. That's not what leaders do. Trust me. A good leader is right there in the trenches with everybody else. And they've taken on their part of the project. I used to tell all my kids in school, I used to tell every employee I've ever had underneath me when I'd had different jobs or with that I've worked with, because in most jobs there's a hierarchy. I've told them all, I'm not going to ask you to do something I wouldn't do myself. If I'm asking you to do something, it's because I genuinely need you to help me. And if you can't do it, let's find 2 or 3 people to help you do it because I can't do it alone. I can't do all the things alone. And in some ways, I know that made me a very effective leader because when I ask somebody to do something, I let them do it. I just let it go and I let them do it. I let them, as long as the outcome had that due date, I did not pester. I let them do it. And if it seemed like they were struggling and they didn't know how to ask for help, I would offer to help. I wouldn't offer to take it away from them. I would offer to help. And that is heart of the sky and mouse. That is the shadow. That is recognizing if I have 23 employees, which I have had teams of more than that, and I say, hey, I need these 3 things done, and I check in, and I learned that checking in is not, is it going to be done on time? It's, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Do you feel good about what you're doing? Tell me how it's going and your successes. Not, are you doing okay? Is it going to be done on time? I mean, I have done that, but that's usually after we're kind of barreling down or maybe the time limit changed, right? And it makes a big difference in the gratitude of the person and their mindset if you are asking them, how do you feel? What are your successes? What do you like about this thing? They can then revamp their own mind and say, these are the details in this project that I'm struggling with. Can you help me? And these are the creative solutions I've come up with. And these are the successes that I'm going to share with you about that. And when we all come back together as a group and look at that final project, we can all pat each other on the back and say, oh my God, I'm so grateful to be a part of this team because we were able to do it together. It's a totally different mindset than going into a project and saying, okay, I'm the leader of the project. And I need these things done. And then every 2 days going, why isn't it done? Why isn't it done? Well, I can help you with it. I can help you with it. I can help you with it. And well, this outcome isn't what I wanted it to be. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. So you have to redo it, or I'm just going to do it myself. Anybody remember that? I mean, depending on who you are, you've probably even experienced those things. I know I have. I've totally been there in that place where I got overwhelmed and I didn't let the creativity flow and I got too nitpicky about something that I didn't have control over. And I wasn't grateful that I had help to do the big thing. I let that help become my shadow. I let the help become my shadow. And I let it become this icky, nitpicky, out of balance, not creative, not from source, not honoring the people that were helping me, that were honoring the vision that we had together. And I wasn't grateful for the fucking help. Excuse my French, but I was not grateful for that help. And I wasn't grateful for the people and their energy and their creativity. And I wasn't being grateful for their vision that contributed to that. So this goes into a lot of things. I'll use a really, really simple example. So I managed a hotel in the last couple of years, and we had a big team. And one of the things that we had struggled with at that time was we had a hard time keeping housekeepers because just economy, it is what it is. And at one time, in a I don't even remember how many rooms we had, like 100 and something, 140, 150. I think we were 150. I don't know. I have a hard time remembering. Um, we had two housekeepers. That's it. We had two. And we were full. We were full all the time. So every day we could have 70, 80 checkouts. And we pulled in people from the breakfast. So the breakfast would get served, and then my breakfast person would help, and she would go strip beds at checkout. I would go help. I would strip beds at checkout. I would do inspections. There were a couple times I vacuumed floors. Um, and I'm running the whole hotel, so I have to run all these different teams and all these things that have to happen. I also have to answer all the phones. I have to handle all of the sales calls. I had to fix any of the front desk kerfuffles, refunds, any of the things that were like the big things, right? The big picture things of the whole thing. And then this one team was really struggling. And we even had some of our laundry people go up and learn how to clean some of the rooms to inspection quality. And they would clean, up to 9 or 10 rooms. That's a lot. Um, Thank goodness the hotel I worked for didn't have this stupid thing where they were paying people per room and how fast they could clean it. That's a terrible modality, and I would never encourage that. They got an hourly wage and they earned that wage, and it was fair. It was awesome. Well, mostly fair. It got to be more fair by the time I left. Anyway, one of the things that team, the reason they worked so hard, and they told me this over and over and over again, was because they knew that there was real gratitude, not just from me, but from each other. They helped each other. There was an understanding of they work hard, and say I had one person that she would do 17 rooms and she would be tanked. I mean, she was just a rock star. She would come in early, she would stay late, she would make sure that she did all the extra rooms that other people, like one woman had to leave to go take care of her kids or her grandkids, and one lady, you know, she just physiologically couldn't do past 3 o'clock or whatever it was. Couldn't do more than 10 rooms. And uh, I even had some front desk people that volunteered to come in, and they got paid. Trust me, they got paid to help with housekeeping. So they knew that if they didn't pass inspection to like the quality of the highest kind of that hotel quality's expectation, that's okay. I'm not going to ding them. There were baseline things that we had to make sure got done, because I knew deep cleans were coming in a couple months, and that there was a renovation coming. There was a lot of things that were coming. So I wasn't too worried about quality, because I knew that even everybody's baseline nitpicky quality was good, right? Their creativity and their shadow side were being honored. And I also knew that each person knew that they had support from their team. There was a creative responsibility, that they weren't responsible for everything. They didn't have to do anything more than what was on their plate, what was on their thing. And they worked hard, and they had a lot of support. And there were always people that wanted to check in early, and I was always really good about making sure that my front desk people could back up my housekeeping, so that they weren't in this team all by themselves, because that is often it's a tension point in most hospitality places, that you have front desks that have demands from customers, and you have housekeeping that they're just balls to the walls, bucking it, working hard, and sometimes can barely get enough rooms cleaned by check-in time, much less to have some elitist, classist. There's a whole thing I have about that rich, racist person coming in at exactly 11:15, right after a whole bunch of people checked out, saying, "Well, I want a room. I deserve this room. I'm a gold member, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Congratulations, we do not have the rooms." And them getting mad, and then going upstairs and finding one of the housekeepers at their cart and berating them to hurry up and clean their room, which isn't their room. In a hotel, you don't own a room. And Uh, then coming downstairs and being very racist and derogatory towards my front desk staff. Like my my staff knew I was going to back them up. And I actually kicked one person out of my hotel one day. I was like, "You will not stay here. I will find you a hotel room somewhere else in the valley, but you will not stay at my hotel. You are mean, you are rude, you are disrespectful, and you need to back up a little bit and recognize your fault in this." Sometimes you have to throw someone's shadow at them when they can't see it because they are whirling in their own dervish. They are in their own shadow and they can't see. They can't honor the heart of the sky. They can't honor the creative force around them. All they see is what in the world will do for them. And they're not grateful for what they have. And there are ways of working in the world where you can be as firm as you need to be to hold your boundaries and be creative and honor a project or a beautiful creation that you have created, and not only allow but honor the creativity of others and their attention to detail and their passion and their energy that comes into space. Have you ever met a mouse that isn't energetic? They're amazing. They're run, 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 run. And it's so exciting and so beautiful. Like I love holding mice. They're joy. They're so joyful. So these cards are pretty powerful today, and they're pretty intense. And most of it has to do with, I think, if you want to take my sum of it, is that be grateful for the things that you have, right? That's mine. And each thing that seems like an obstacle might actually be something you can reframe. I use that word a lot. Reframe it, tilt it, pivot and reframe that thing that you don't feel like you can be grateful for it. Find the lesson. Find the reframe in that thing that seems like a huge obstacle. So I've had to live in my car before. What was the lesson of living in my car? Well, for me, the lesson of living in my car is recognizing the simplicity of the things I need, right, versus want. Um, then mouse. Mouse is, I'll pull the book back out again. So mouse is organized, resourceful, and prepared. Mouse is amazing. A mouse is joy. A mouse has this amazing amount of energy to back up that gratitude. When out of balance, the shadow is busy with no purpose, nitpicky, um, and pestering and uh, running around in circles, not getting anywhere. Just nervous energy. To bring into balance, have a good project. Have a project you can put that energy and that attention to detail with. And the shadow of mouse also is not seeing the joy, not seeing, refusing to see, getting stuck in the circle of, oh my God, this is scary. Oh my God, this is scary. Oh my God, this is scary. And being frozen and not seeing the pivot point, not seeing, not allowing the shift of energy that brings back to joy. And then Heart of Sky. Heart of Sky is the love force that makes all creation possible. The beauty from the invisible world. The birth of any new creative thing in the world. The shadow of this is trying to hold all of it and do all of it yourself. We are not supposed to do our whole lives alone. We need each other. Shed your lofty sense of duty. Recognize that this is a false prison of your own making. You do not have to do it all. You're not supposed to do it all. It is one of the things that, as somebody who has psychic gifts, I have known my whole life of really big things that were coming. I've also known of very specific things that are coming. And I have really struggled sometimes knowing when to recognize the thing that's coming and let it go and be okay with, I have to just be in a place of being ready and vulnerable and be in my place of peace so that when that thing happens, I can help and get help to do what needs to happen next, because I'm not supposed to just know what's coming. It's knowing what's coming and knowing that I can participate, but I'm not supposed to control it. I'm not supposed to hold it all. And the amazing thing that's happened in the last year is the validation of that for me. The validation that daily devotions are important. So I'm going to keep doing them. Knowing that writing these manuscripts is important. I'm going to keep doing that. Knowing that the teaching that I do with students is important. I'm going to keep doing that. That my sessions with clients are important, and I'm going to keep doing that. These are all things that are important, and I could not do them without having let go of all sense of control, all sense of trying to hold anything that brings the shadow into a place of stillness. Shadow is movement. Light, when you do meditation, right? You do a meditation and you sit and you try to get your minds kind of in that stillness place where you can perceive all these other things. And mind and spirit are very connected, and having your body in a place where you can feel your body, feel your mind, feel your spirit. The movement is the emotion. The emotion through that stillness. I am happy. I am in bliss. I am in a place of peace. I am sad. I am disappointed. I am ecstatic. I'm sad. I'm fearful. I'm frozen. I'm whatever the things are. There's a cycle. There's a spiral of emotion. And that spiral is really very much in a circle 8 pattern. You go from shadow to light to shadow. So the mouse goes from joy into the energy of paying attention to the detail of what brings them joy, into the, oh my goodness, I'm frozen, this is really big, I need help, into, I'm going to ask for help. Oh my goodness, look at that joy that somebody is bringing to me. Oh, I have clarity on that project. Okay, more paying attention to details. Then going back into that, oh shit, I'm stuck again, I'm frozen, I can't move. I need to control all the little details. I can't let it go. I can't let it go. Oh, I have somebody that can help me. Oh, they've brought me this new idea. Oh, look at the details of how that idea cycles. Do you see where I'm moving the card? I'm going into a circle 8 infinity pattern, because that is shadow and light. Every single thing you do in your life is the shadow and light movement. Shadow requires movement. If you are stuck in shadow, move. Move your body and allow your emotions to flow. Allow yourself to be angry. Throw the toaster across the room if you need to. Don't just throw it at don't throw it at anybody, but throw it across the room if you need to. Go outside and scream. Go for a walk. Go lift weights. Get it out. Um, okay, so that's today's daily devotion. I know that it probably seems like every daily devotion lately I've talked about shadow. It's an important thing that I can't enforce enough, that we are in tide of destruction. We are going from winter solstice to spring equinox. We are going from, in the tides of the year, we go from tide of destruction, winter solstice to spring equinox, that is shadow, into tide of renewal, spring equinox to summer solstice, that is light. Tide of completion, summer solstice to fall equinox, that is light. And then we go to tide of preparation, fall equinox to winter solstice, that goes into the shadow. Even our wheel of the year is shadow and light, shadow and light, shadow and light, shadow and light. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's not scary, and it's not bad. It's not bad and good. Is there a bad time of the year and a good time of the year? Only if you think of it in limitations of what you like and don't like. I do not enjoy the summer. But technically in the tides, it's the light tide of the year. So is that bad for me? No. It just is. There's no good and bad in that quality. There is shadow and light. And honestly, if you really boil it down, there isn't good and bad. There's always light and shadow. I hope you all have a beautiful day, my friends. And it is Friday, so I will see you next week. Hmm. Now I'm going to go do my tuning fork. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you in prayer. Blessed be.